Got another air conditioner. Obviously I've taken it apart. We got the front cover here, which actually sits on the front face here. This is a Maytag. I got all the details down here, actually. 6,000 BTU. 5.6. I guess that's amps. You really don't need to know the PSI, but it's there. We got model numbers and serial numbers. And it doesn't work. I had an extension cord here, but I took it away for when I was trimming some trees. But when you plug it in, it beeps twice, and then there's nothing. The panel doesn't light up. We've got a remote here, no functionality on the remote. But I figured my other air conditioner video, which I talk about the mechanics a lot, is getting a lot of views recently, and that's understandable with the summer upon us. But I figured I'd talk a little bit about the electronics on this one, because it's a little different design than I'm used to. I take this. Now, if you've seen the other video, I don't know if you'll be able to see this with the brightness, but you'll notice that this looks a little different. This right here is your thermal switch, protects you from overheating. And then normally there would be another little box right here, but there isn't. And what they've done in this unit is they've incorporated the controls for the compressor into the circuit board itself. So if you look, move some of these wires out of the way. I have discharged this capacitor, so there's no risk there. But you can see you have your compressor, and all that does is turn the power on. It goes, the blue wire goes up to here. The white wire is actually power source. And that just controls the on and off. But I believe these two relays down here control the on and off of the individual coils, because there's a start coil and there's a run coil. So I don't have a good example here, but normally what you would have up here is a box. There's 3 pins, and you would have a little box that sits on top of those with a relay inside of it that when power is applied to it, it'll run both for a second, and then it'll switch off the secondary coil and just run on the primary. But they've moved all that down here. And of course you got the start capacitor. This runs the compressor and the fan motor. There's 3 terminals up here. If you can see, you have your C terminal, which is your common. You have your fan, and you have your Herm. I don't know why it's called Herm. I'm sure there's a backstory. I don't care. But that is your compressor. So, just a quick note, when you're testing these, this one here specifically is 4 on one, 40 on the other microfarads. So what you're going to do, you take your one probe from your C and your other probe to your fan, and you should have 4 microfarads testing across there. If you have, say, 5, or if you have 4.5 or even 3.5, that's fine. It's still good. And if you go from your C to your Herm, which is your compressor again, you should have 40. And again, if you have like 38 or 42, that's still fine. Something else you might want to look at. I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video. If I can just pop that off. There's a fuse right here. Now this one's good. I've taken and tested it. But that is literally the first thing you want to look at. Is if that fuse, I'll fix that later, if that fuse is blown. Because if it's blown, then that is your number one problem. However, the fuse here is fine. There's that little beeper I was telling you about. I wasn't telling you, but it beeps when I plug it in. I've taken both boards apart, looked for blown circuits. Nothing I can find there. The only thing that I can find is an issue is this capacitor doesn't seem to be testing correctly. The 4 side seems to be okay, but the 40 side doesn't seem to be the right capacitance. So I'm not sure if that's an actual issue. And I don't understand why a blown capacitor would prevent the panel from displaying the correct information. Let's move this. If you look at the panel, there's LED display here. There's an LED here, 3 of them here, 2 of them here. And even with that blown capacitor, they should still light up. But they don't. So, if you've opened up your air conditioner and you find a situation like this, then basically the unit is garbage. Well, scrap, I should say. But I think that'll be it for now. You might see this again in a future video because I'm going to disassemble it. I'm going to try and find an aftermarket relay for it to get that compressor working. And I'm going to plunk it down on top of my compressor in the garage here because, I should say, I'm going to put it on my air compressor because everything's fine, the tank is fine, but the actual compressor that sits on top has gone to refrigerant heaven, and so I got to replace that. But you guys have yourselves a good day.